So he had to ride a lot to prove that it was some of my, he's like a cow.
Understatement of the year. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode. This week's episode is going to be a little bit different than normal. We're taking it back to the past. We're talking about why we started training, why we started racing, why we're kind of into this whole endurance sports thing. For those of you who are our friends, our family, our followers, who may not be endurance athletes and wonder why do they do this crazy stuff, this is why.
So I started racing and I jumped straight into triathlon about 10 years ago. My first triathlon was the Long Beach Tri. It was a sprint tri. I got into it because I had been in college for about 2 years. I was bored, I wasn't doing anything, and started teaching this couple how to swim. It was about 8 weeks out from the Long Beach Tri. So it seemed like a really good idea at the time. Could barely run. I remember really early training runs that all I had to do was not stop for 30 minutes and had people walking faster than me. I just wanted to see what I could do and try one race and see what happens.
So my background of getting started in racing, and more specifically running, is totally different. I picked up the running bug training for soccer. And I was the guy that they put on the field and was the Energizer Bunny, basically. And I realized midway through high school, the year that I decided to not do track and instead join the high school soccer team, I only made the varsity soccer team because I could run faster and longer than everybody else. But that's when I kind of made the decision that, okay, if I want to get a scholarship to college, I'm gonna need to basically do running and not soccer. So even though I'm still a diehard soccer fan, that's really when I made the decision to become a runner, and the rest is history from there.
So as I kept training for the Long Beach Tri and kept getting closer and closer to race day, I knew I didn't want this to end. So many friends thought I was crazy. They didn't know what I was doing. I think I trained mostly on a beach cruiser, if I remember correctly. It's the only bike I had. I had no idea what I was doing, didn't know what to wear. I threw on like a cotton surf shirt for the run. Didn't know how to change the gears on the bike. I had down tube shifters. Borrowed the bike, got it the day before. It's pretty comical pictures to look back at, and
Sounds comical.
You would have thought I was so hardcore.
No, I wouldn't have. Not at all.
So, and then I remember that night I showed up to the college triathlon team. After that, I ended up having to actually buy my own bike. Still have it. It's my favorite little starter bike. That's what he started on for a while before I let him buy one. And from there, I just went in head first. Raced in college almost every weekend, tons of sprints. You really couldn't get me away from it, and I was pretty addicted by then.
So when I moved from Southern California to Northwest Arkansas, I moved to the track capital of the world. Yes, that's what I'm saying, all you Oregon fans out there. Fayetteville is the track capital of the world. We literally have a sign as you come in that says so. See, it's official. So that's when I really kind of first discovered running to run. In junior high, I was like one of the worst kids on the team. I wasn't very good, wasn't very fast at all. Then I got into high school, and it really wasn't until probably midway through my sophomore year that something just clicked, and all of a sudden I went from like the last on the team to scoring for the team. It was just kind of strange because I didn't do anything different. I didn't put any extra work. It just clicked, and I fell more in love with it. And by the time that I finished high school, I left probably as the third third best runner in the state. Then I went to college and I got a college scholarship to Nova Southeastern University. And that was a horrible time for my running career. To put it lightly. Then I discovered ultra running. You know, I grew up running the back roads of Arkansas and dirt roads, and I love soft surfaces, I love trails, but I never thought about racing long on soft surfaces. Like for me, running was, no, it's a track or it's a road. That's all there is. When I started doing ultra running, I moved to Colorado for an internship. Probably spent way too much time training in the mountains than I did at the internship, but nonetheless, fantastic experience. After my internship was up, moved back home to Arkansas and did my first ultra, and that was a huge learning experience.
Which one was your first one?
It was the Dogwood Canyon 50K. And that's the picture of me where I have puke next to me. Then I kind of did ultra running and road running, marathons, half marathons, kind of interchangeably for a while. And then I moved to California. And then things just kind of changed from there.
So in college, I raced a lot. Over 30 races within a 2-year span. So needless to say, I got burnt out and broke. So going into grad school, kind of everything changed. I basically lost any and all fitness I had. And after a while, I kind of needed a break from cycling. By then we had moved to Los Angeles, not my favorite place to ride. And so I really tackled a lot of running then. I did my first marathon, and then I decided it had been too long and I needed to get the cobwebs, actual literal cobwebs, off of my bike. And I wanted to prove to myself that I could do another half Ironman, which to be honest felt like my first half Ironman. I had to find places to ride, retrain, totally trained myself while working full time, which I thought would be a lot easier when I was in college. I learned a lot about balancing work and training. And that finish line was just incredible when I knew I could do it again.
So moved to California and training in track spikes and racing flats way too much. Just did my Achilles in. But the biggest injury I had, at least I thought at the time, was I did my knee in. My knee literally gave out and I almost fell down. I was like, what is going on here? I could usually self-medicate any injury not in my Achilles.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. So I ended up not running pretty much at all for like a year. And then I remember, this is when I first got introduced to Hoka, funny enough. I remember I got a pair of the original Stinson. I brought them home, did one lap around the block. I stopped, I looked down and I said a few expletives, like the F word, because I didn't want to like them. But it was literally the first half mile I was able to run with no pain in a year. Add in the Hokas, add in the 2 weeks of physical therapy. Remember, this was a year and a half that I've been injured, trying to self-medicate. 3 weeks after I go to the doctor and get a pair of Hokas and do the physical therapy, I'm good as new. This is why you don't self-medicate. I was able to run, but I had lost so much fitness and I had gained so much weight that it was super hard to come back from. So I really got into trail running, but was just kind of turning into a soul runner a little bit. I didn't really want to race. I was just trying to rediscover running again. A lot of it was just kind of training this little one to get into running. So kind of like how she more recently has trained me with swimming, I was kind of just doing a lot of stuff with her or just going out for hours on end by myself in the woods. So then moved to Santa Barbara. This one got me into triathlons. I think from here on, I've got a few different goals in mind, but one of them is to to explore some of the trails here in Santa Barbara.
So it's definitely really interesting being the people who do these sports and do these crazy things. Everybody always thinks I'm motivated all the time. Definitely not. I would say at the end of the day, what motivates me is I like proving to myself I can do anything that I possibly could want to do. When I'm really fit, when I'm racing a lot, even when I'm just training a lot, I feel like nothing can stop me. Endurance sports, it all depends on you as a woman to feel like I'm strong and empowered and can do anything that I set my mind to. Remind myself of that on tough days. I set really big goals that scare myself, commit myself to it financially so that I have to follow through because we're really cheap. That just kind of helps keep me going through. It's really knowing that every day you get out there, it's kind of a building block to some big goal that I want to try and set to just really be kind of the best version of me that I can be.
I struggle with motivation. I kind of always have. What motivates me is unfinished business. I have wanted to break 16 in the 5K my entire running career. Whenever I try to do speed workouts now, my Achilles just goes very, very quickly, no matter what I do to it. It's still a goal of mine, still motivates me all the time, but I just keep getting distracted because there's other cool stuff that I want to go do now. Like I want to go a 100-mile run, I want to do, you know, an Ironman, I want to finally finish a half Ironman.
So obviously 2020 has been a pain for pretty much everybody, and I particularly had some huge goals I set for myself. And obviously starting in March, that started to fall apart. I would say the way I've stayed motivated is still remembering what I really, really want to accomplish. My really big goals are still there. They haven't gone anywhere, they're just postponed, just like everything else this year. So I'm just trying to use this year as a way to get even stronger, get a better base, maybe get me more prepared for those big goals that I have later. So if you want to get started in racing, you know, it's something we enjoy. It's not something for everybody. I think as long as you just get out there, do anything, take care of yourself, kind of lead the best life you can. That's the best thing we could say. And in the meantime, I hope you're kind of enjoying our shenanigans.
Do you agree, buddy? No, he doesn't
No.
agree apparently. But he's a cat. What does he know?
He's a little lazy.
So like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments ways that you like to stay motivated. Like this guy.